Ako po si Fr Junjun Borres, Tubong Cagayan de Oro City. I joined the Jesuits in 1986. Okay, so that's how many years ago? So more than probably 37 years. So, and then I was ordained in 1996. Okay, so my first assignment when I was ordained was in New Bilibid prisons.
Prison ministry po yan?
Yes, prison ministry. So I didn't know. I've never been to a prison. I've not seen a prison cell before. I've not gone to any jail. But I was assigned to the premier correctional institution of the country.
Yes po.
New Bilibid prisons. At that time, bago-bago lang nagsimula yung aming prison ministry. And our office there is called Philippine Jesuit Prison Service. Okay?
How is it po being assigned in the prison ministry? Ano-ano po yung mga activities po na ginagawa ni Father?
Siguro they have plenty of time, so we fill their time with many activities. You know, sadly, there's sobrang laki ng institution. At that time, there were over 10,000 inmates. So, I don't know if you've been to New Bilibid prisons.
Hindi ba?
I hope you don't go there as a resident. But we guess. So, we have 3 camps there in New Bilibid prisons. Maximum security compound where the worst offenders are assigned to. In fact, at one time, we had the death row there. Okay? And then, the medium security compound, mga one life term, ganyan, medyo mag-aanggang na kaso. And then minimum, this is the security compound for those who are on their way out, parang they are being transitioned, and the elderly. Okay, so we hold daily masses back then. I don't know, probably they still do that, but in recent years, nagka-problemas, of course, pandemic, insecurity.
Yes po.
So, but we have daily masses there, no? So, and the sacraments, confessions. So, and then, of course, katuwang namin ang ibang mga religious organizations, Couples for Christ, among them, who give also spiritual and prayer activities inside, you know. So, for the longest time, medyo click sa mga inmates ang charismatic style of worshiping. So if you go and attend a mass inside New Bilibid prisons, whether maximum or medium or minimum, there's always clapping from beginning to end. You know, I know you've seen, worship songs. You know, you probably attended one of these charismatic masses. So, mangangalan kami because everyone's, but you know, when they sing, Panginoon, maawa ka, talagang tago sa puso yung kanilang kinakanta.
Hey guys! Welcome to Mama's Boys. In this program, we will meet priests from around the globe. We will discuss interesting features of their lives, from their humble beginnings, their calling, the churches, and more. Tayo pa rin ay nandito sa Mama's Boys, Mama Mary's Boys. Samahan niyo kami sa pagpapatuloy ng ating kwentuhan kasama si Reverend Father Silvino Junjun Borres, SJ.
My music, my songs are really almost every music song I wrote was in collaboration with Manuling. Manuling was one of my best friends in the society, so we collaborated a lot. So, yan. So, Stella Maris, Sa'yo Lamang, Pananalig, what else? Bayan Umawit, Pagbubunyi. The last song we collaborated on was Tinapay ng Buhay. that was in 2001, 2002. Sus,
Yes po.
tagal na rin, no? That was our last collaboration because, we were not set to different assignments.
Father, ang natatandaan ko po sa sayo lamang is kinakanta po siya during a wedding. Pero tungkol po talaga saan
Well,
yung
it's a
sayo
vow
lamang?
song. That was composed for the vow song, for the vow profession of Father Manuling and Brother Philip. Yeah, Brother Philip Gan eventually left,
Yes po.
So that was for their
Ordination.
vows. No, not ordination, vows.
Vows
It's because
po.
after 2 years in the novitiate, you make your first vows. But for us Jesuits, it is already perpetual. Okay? So I was younger, a year younger than them. So I helped, in the song. Okay. So now it became so popular
Yes
that,
po. It
it's a
became
little bit
a wedding
correct.
song po.
Wedding song.
A love song po.
A love song. In fact, initially, parang it was banned in some churches because it was a love song daw. So, but, Manuling's idea is that, once the song is out there, it's really how people would appropriate
Yes,
it,
po.
So he believes in that, and I share that belief too.
Who were your inspirations po, or who became your inspirations po during your life as a priest po?
Well, I met several Jesuits in college whom I looked up to. There was Father Borromeo. There's Father Borromeo, who is now in the wellness. Very simple, very articulate, very talented, flawed individual also. He had also struggles mentally, some health issues. And then of course, one that I have never met, but also a Jesuit, Walter Chisak.
Magbabalik kami after a few reminders, kaya stay tuned guys! Kayo pa rin ay nanonood ng Mama's Boys, Mama Mary's Boys. For more 5 siglo content, like, share at subscribe natin ang ating mga social media platforms. Back on our interview with Fr Junjun Borres, SJ. Who were your inspirations po, or who became your inspirations po during your life as a priest po?
Well, I met several Jesuits in college whom I looked up to. There was Father Borromeo. There's Father Borromeo, who is now in the wellness. Very simple, very articulate, very talented, flawed individual also. He had also struggles mentally, some health issues. And then of course, one that I have never met, but also a Jesuit, Walter Chisak. They're moving his cause for sainthood. But Father Walter Chisak, as a young priest, was served a long time in prison in Siberia. He was caught. He was doing some mission work in Russia. So I still remember the book he wrote after he was released from prison. And his friends and his family back in the US all thought that he had died because he had spent many years in Siberia. But it was, he wrote this book, and he was detailing how he was exercising his priesthood in that severe condition, how he would say Mass in the middle of the forest, and then, in Siberia it was so tough, so he was my inspiration, Father Walter Chisak. So I also aspired, that kind of, life, for that kind of life. And of course, I was close to Saint Teresa of Lisieux. I think among the saints, hers was the first book that I read from cover to cover. So it was also, those two really inspired me. So, yes.
Father, ano po yung mga challenges po na naranasan niyo po along your way?
Well, studies, of course, because my background was not philosophy. So I think, I managed, but I
You
also...
took a course po muna before?
Yes, I was a AB Sociology graduate. But my philo background was not that strong. So when I went to Ateneo, it's a different kind of, really challenge. Mamilosopia in Filipino. But I enjoyed yung philosophy class ko kay Father Ferios. Ibang mamilosopia sa Pilipino eh. So, para ka magmemeron. So, but I managed, and of course, in the ministry, of course, when I was in prison, you experience rejection now and then, because I was heading the advocacy against the death penalty. Until now, I'm still the president of the coalition against the death penalty. So there was a time maybe I was so naive, I thought that everyone who shares your belief, I thought that So when I was heading that, some of our benefactors withdrew their support because they thought that we should not get involved in fighting against the death penalty. So, and then one time, there was one radio broadcaster or a journalist who was also for death penalty, and said something like, me and another champion, a lay person, he said that Father Borres and Mr. Diamante should be raped. So that they would understand the feelings of the victims, because they had accused us of being lovers of rapists, lovers of criminals,
Sinasabi nga po nila, pardon po sa mga words, mga kriminal naman yan, okay lang pong mamatay.
Yes.
Mga ganun po.
That's a punitive mentality. So, in a way, I was grateful for those years, because if you're exposed to such pastoral situations of hatred, of indifference, of apathy, I think it teaches you also how to be accommodating and welcoming of the experiences of others, which is really at the heart of my own work, information work and spirituality. It is when you accompany people in their spiritual journey, there should be that, a welcoming disposition. I thought without those 4 years I had, I would have really, it would have been really difficult for me.
Baka po iniisip po nila, Father, na you were supporting the criminals nga po dahil po sa inyo pong initiative po na yan. Kindly explain this po.
Well, when we say support the criminals, the reality is that most of this, or particularly just focusing on death row, most of the people in death row are really poor. Okay? And not all in death row are guilty, There was one inmate who was so uneducated that when his case was the sentence was finally read to him, it was in English. So he didn't understand that he was also already being sentenced to death. Ngingisi-ngisi pa siya.
Yes po.
And then it was explained to him. That's when he broke down, because they had no adequate legal representation, and the POW lawyers are doing very heroic job, and they couldn't understand. The POW lawyer is a government agency, and of course also is a prosecution.
Yes,
but in terms of resources, uneven, lopsided. The prosecution has a lot. The POW lawyers, halos kulang na kulang. Ang POW lawyers, sila yung gastos nila, pag-xerox ng mga documents, ganyan, So, which is really kind of, even then, you begin to reflect by that. The government, is biased, So, so this is not to blame foul lawyers for, but they had just too many cases to handle, So that's when we come in to help. We really develop paralegal, and of course, seeking also other resources to help these people. So I tell you nga so nangungulekta nagsusulisit kami ng mga kabaong.
Yes po.
Para pag may namatay, meron kaming naibigay na kabaong.
Magbabalik ang Mama's Boys, Mama Mary's Boys, kaya huwag kayong aalis. We are still here with Fr Junjun Borres, SJ. Like, share and subscribe natin ang episode na ito to spread the good news and good vibes. Father, yung social media po ngayon ay nag-boom po during, especially po during the pandemic, what do you think is the role po of the social media in today's church?
It's a double-edged sword. Of course, accessibility of information, and in fact, parang I hear people saying that nasanay sila sa online masses, hinahanap-hanap nila. So, well, on one hand, parang you think about it, parang, but that's not, so merong ganun, ba?
Yes, po.
So because they have so much access, almost like easy access to, these are not sacraments, of course, because these are online.
Yes.
We require personal presence in sacraments. But nonetheless, introduction to divine realities, There may not be sacrament, but there are divine realities as well. And I've heard people who had experienced religious experiences, who had deep religious experiences because of through social media, access to these religious activities. So, but there's also like an abuse that can happen as well. Misrepresentation also of sacraments, and because anybody could make comments, could offer their opinion behind anonymity, parang that reverence for sacred things is almost lost. And so that's, like, yes, on the one hand, we have access, social
naging
media.
Convenient na po.
Naging convenient. May downside din yan Convenience, naging complacent.
Yes po.
Naging indifferent yung mga tao. So, that sense of mystery is lost. So, yun yung aking nakikita. So, it has to be, so media also as a tool for evangelization needs also some evangelization as well.
Father, what are your projects and initiatives po dito po sa inyo pong new assignment?
My work here is I am an assistant pastor or assistant parish priest, and also working at the retreat house. Okay, so I juggle. I divide my time between the parish and the retreat house. So, I still continue my advocacy, but very limited na lang kasi most of my colleagues are there in Manila. So, I'm just here. So, not much really in terms of, campaign. So, because I'm limited here really in the parish and the retreat.
Father, sa lahat po ng activities po na ginagawa po ninyo, do you still have free time po, and what do you do during your free time po?
Well, I used to, my hobby really watching movies, but during pandemic wala, So, as much as possible, I try to, I'm not very successful at it, like take a break or one day off, visit, just to be alone, It's just that here, parang ang layo-layo ng gusto mong maging tahimik, parang ang layo ng pupuntahan mo, So, but I think that's important. So, well, I'm blessed that I have the retreat house. If I want some quiet, I can just go. I have my room there. I can just go there. Just be alone.
Father, lastly po, what's your message po to your parishioners, to the faithful po?
Yeah. Well, I always believe, like, I've never been a member of Legion of Mary, but I subscribe to their motto, like, to Jesus through Mary, So that that you cannot be devoted to Jesus unless you're devoted to His mother, So, and your devotion to Jesus is something that really the Mother, Blessed Mother, will nurture, and protect, So, even if you cannot recite the rosary regularly, like I have always my rosary with me, just to kind of that connection. So, yes.
Maraming salamat po, Father. It's such an honor po to be knowing you personally, and of course malaman po and marinig po yung inyong mga kwento and your journey to priesthood po. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
All right.
I would like to thank Simpang Makapagal Vision Center for my eyewear. We would like to thank the following. There you have it, guys. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Mama's Boys. Hope to see you in our future episode. This has been your host, Karen Dane. Jama taray shine!